The phone rings at 3 a.m. A frantic voice on the line whispers, "They found another one." In the early hours of April 2nd, 1973, the lifeless body of a young girl is discovered, her name echoing an eerie pattern. This is the third victim, each with an alliterative name, found in towns that match their initials. Who is behind this twisted game? And more importantly, why were they never caught? The haunting silence of Rochester, New York, may hold the key. The early 1970s in Rochester, New York, was a time of innocence for many families. Children rode their bikes freely, played in the streets, and attended school without fear. Among these children were three young girls whose lives would take a tragic turn. 10-year-old Carmen Villalobos, 11-year-old Wanda Walkowicz, and 10-year-old Maenza. Each girl had a bright future ahead of them, filled with dreams and ambitions. Carmen, known for her infectious laughter, was a fifth grader with a love for the outdoors. Wanda, a spirited girl, was always seen with a smile and a curious mind. Michelle, the youngest of the three, was a shy child who adored animals. Their lives intertwined in the same vibrant neighborhoods, but unbeknownst to their families, darkness lurked just around the corner. As the community went about its daily routines, the shadow of a serial killer began to manifest, preying on the vulnerability of these innocent girls. Each disappearance sent shockwaves through the community, raising alarms and igniting fears. But what could possibly connect these seemingly unrelated lives? What was the sinister pattern that would soon emerge? On December 16, 1971, Carmen Villalobos went missing after leaving her home in the Rochester suburb of Arundequoit. Her family was frantic when she didn't return for dinner, and a search party was soon mobilized. Tragically, just a few days later, her body was discovered in a nearby town, just off the coast of Lake Ontario. The discovery was chilling. Carmen's body was found in a location that eerily matched her initials, her first and last names. Just under a year later, on March 18, 1972, the community faced another nightmare when 11-year-old Wanda Walkowicz disappeared while walking home from a local store. The search for her was intense, but once again, the outcome was grim. Wanda's body was found in a similar fashion, discarded in the town of Webster. The entire city was on edge, and parents were terrified for their children. Then, on November 26, 1973, the tragic pattern continued with the disappearance of 10-year-old Maenza. She vanished after leaving a friend's house, and days later, her body was discovered in the nearby town of Greece. Each victim shared an unsettling connection. Their names and the locations where they were found were all strikingly similar. The investigations revealed that each girl had been lured away, but the police were left scrambling for leads. With no witnesses and no clear suspects, the question remained, who was responsible for these heinous acts, and why had they chosen these specific girls? As the investigation unfolded, detectives began to explore potential suspects. The chilling nature of the murders suggested that they were the work of a serial killer, someone who thrived on the fear and chaos they created. Various leads were investigated, including a local man known to have a history of violence against children. But with no solid evidence linking him to the crimes, the case grew colder. Authorities also considered the possibility of a connection to a nearby psychiatric hospital, where several patients had gone missing. This theory, however, failed to materialize into anything substantial. The police were left with little to go on and turned to the community for help. Flyers with the girls' photographs were plastered across Rochester, and tips began to flood in. Some pointed fingers at local drifters and others at strangers seen near the crime scenes. Yet, every lead seemed to lead to a dead end. The pattern of the murders became a chilling calling card for the unknown killer, and the fear gripped the community like a vice. Parents kept their children close, and the city was plunged into paranoia. As every new day passed, hope began to dwindle. Who could commit such a crime, and why did they leave no trace? As the investigation dragged on, one of the most striking pieces of evidence came to light. A witness who claimed to have seen Michelle Maenza with a man just before her disappearance. This revelation reignited hope among investigators, who believed they were finally close to cracking the case. The witness described a man driving a brown sedan, and police released a sketch to the public, hoping someone would recognize him. But once again, the lead came up empty. Then, in a shocking twist, a local journalist began to explore the case in depth, drawing parallels to a series of other unsolved child murders across the country. This prompted the FBI to step in, theorizing that the murders could be part of a larger pattern of child abductions. However, despite the increased attention and resources, no new leads emerged. The killer remained elusive, slipping through the cracks of a fractured investigation. As the years wore on, the community's fear shifted to frustration, and families were left to mourn their lost children without answers. The chilling reality was that a predator was still out there, and the haunting question remained, who was the face behind the brown sedan? The years passed, and the Alphabet murders became a dark chapter in Rochester's history. The case remained unsolved, and the families of Carmen, Wanda, and Michelle were left grappling with their grief. In 1980, a documentary aired that reignited public interest in the case, bringing forward new theories and suspects, but ultimately leading to more questions than answers. The case was revisited by both amateur sleuths and professional investigators, but every attempt to solve it seemed to falter. The community held vigils, hoping to keep the memories of the girls alive while also seeking justice. In 2007, the Rochester Police Department officially reopened the case, utilizing new forensic technology in hopes of finding any DNA evidence that may have been overlooked. Despite their efforts, the case remained cold, and the killer's identity was still shrouded in mystery. The haunting question lingered. Could the passage of time ever bring closure to these families? The chilling reality of the unsolved case loomed large, a reminder of the darkness that can invade even the most innocent of lives. Today, the Alphabet murders remain one of Rochester's most infamous unsolved cases. The chilling notion that a serial killer once roamed the streets, targeting innocent girls, continues to haunt the community. Each year, the families of Carmen, Wanda, and Michelle gather to honor their memories, hoping for a breakthrough that could finally bring justice. The case serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of safety and the darkness that can lurk even in the most unsuspecting places. As new technologies and methods emerge, the hope remains that one day the truth will surface. Who was the killer? Why did they choose these girls? These questions linger in the air, unanswered and unsettling. If this case keeps you up at night like it does me, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.